You'll see a lot of people doing free checks because it's not too hard. Progression time divided by 2. It'll be interesting to see who balances racing fast and getting free checks early versus doing a little bit of leveling up. Okay, so we're getting started now. So we see our racers here. Got Jackamus Wedge in the top left, Rumblefish 82 in the bottom left, Lunar Chimera in the bottom right, and Drulith in the top right.
They begin with Go and Mugs, so not a lot of checks for them. So we're probably gonna see same routes or same first checks for many runners.
Yep. So we see
Jack. Bojack and the Rumble goes to Narshe.
We see Drulith. Everybody's doing essentially the same Narsh checks right now. They're checking the treasure house, and some are checking the starter area as well for different items. I haven't seen anything too amazing get picked up quite yet. Oh, Dragoon Boots in the at the clock in Arvis's house there by Jackamus.
The Ragnarok. There was a Ragnarok in the Destin Nash.
All right, Lunar looks like he was taking on the monster in a box in the beginner house, and it appears to be Pugs.
So Lunar Chimera resets. It's gonna be hard for him at this level to kill them. They have a bunch of HP.
So one thing we saw there is Jack went.
Bojack is
he's doing the lone wolf check, but he just went to the item shop and picked up a bunch of warp stones and smoke bombs, which are important given the flags that we have right now, which is escapable all. So if Jack goes to do any of the fixed encounter based checks, such as Leet River or Burning House, he may decide to use those items to get out of those battles and speed things along at the expense of the experience he could be getting.
Yeah, and we know how fast he can go, so it's probably a strat he uses often. And he can. We saw Bojack finds Sabin, the wolf. Don't know what the wolf can trade him. Trident, so I'm sure he's gonna take Sabin. Yeah, the third character for Bojack.
We've got Drew coming up right behind him doing the same check, and I believe we're going to be seeing Rumble doing the same thing as well.
Yeah. So Lunar Chimera is going to the chest, and you'll see an elixir and Ragnarok too. Explosion.
Looks like Jack's gonna make an attempt at the Kefka at Narsh check here as well after picking up Sabin.
He's doing it, yeah. It's better to do it fast because, as you said before, the game times by 2, so at this moment, the boss will be level 3.
That's right. We see Rumble in the bottom left fighting a Chimera. Not sure if that was an intentional attempt to grind or if he just forgot to put on the Moogle charm there. It's something I'm definitely guilty of doing quite often.
Drew is doing also the same Kefka at Nash check. And Bojack missed the soldier skip. So he's have a fight against. I don't like these guys because they can throw you a bunch of things and they can wipe you fast.
Yeah, he's in a little bit of trouble now with Sabin getting muddled and taking Mog out of the fight. And that is a wipe, an early wipe for Jack.
Yeah. And Drew skipped mostly all the soldiers, just get to last one before Kefka. The fight against Gloomshell gonna be a little bit easier for him.
I will say it's nice that they made stuff easy on us commentating to just all be doing the same checks at the same time. Alright.
And Drew uses Blowfish. So Franklin says, yeah. Trot Rage, sorry. So you can use Blowfish. It's good for the beginning for level 3. 1000 damage.
Yeah, with level 3 scaling
to begin.
Yeah, with level 3 scaling, he's not going to be doing. He's not going to have anything that's really going to be able to stand up for very long against Blowfish. We see Jack ended up not attempting the rest of that check. He reset and then immediately headed back down into Narshe to do some purchasing. Where he's grabbing some fire rods, which is always a good pickup early game.
We find some piranhas for Drew, so it's not a spicy chicken as the runner thought about it, but it's a really nice fight to begin. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of annoying to find sometimes in the middle of your run because you might as well stretch your legs and get up and grab a drink, go to the bathroom, because it takes as long as it's going to take. But early it is kind of a nice find because you know it's not going to give you any trouble. So it's basically you know you're going to succeed with that check.
I guess that Rumblefish is doing some XP with fight, or he just forgot to put the Mooglesham, but I know Rumblefish does lots of grinding at the beginning of runs.
Yeah, which is interesting to see how that'll work out with the progression as it is, because usually that's something that you want to do in your progression seeds, or you see it often. I'm not sure if it's how useful it is in the progression divided by 2, time divided by 2, but we'll see.
Yeah, and thanks Mr. E for answering the question. So the piranhas are about 30 or 90 seconds before the boss appear, and we can see Bujax is trying the Imperial Camp, so we're gonna see fast what is this check. It was zone sick for Drulith.
Oh, a little bit of a restream flip there in Drulith's screen, but we did see that he picked up an Esper from the Piranhas. Did you happen to see what the Esper was, Kate Isaac?
Yeah, zone sick.
Right on, thank you.
Welcome. And its character, I think I saw Celeste at the Imperial Camp for Bojack. And Luna Chimera is also fighting the Piranhas too.
So we see Rumble decided to go for an early World of Ruin, probably just part of his early game chest store routine routing, which is a little different from normal, but everybody has their own kind of routing at the start of the game. It's one of the things that I really enjoy about Worlds Collide is as much as it often comes together at the same time at the end, everybody has their own routing. So Rumble seems to have gone for the Collapsing House check early, which is a good idea. Given the progression, you can do the free checks for free. And he just picked up a fixed dice in one of those chests, which is a nice early grab.
Yes, nice early grab, and combined with jump or with offering can give you a great advance at the beginning. It takes more time to fight, so you're gonna lose some time but gain in efficacy. He's trying Monster in the Box with Gigantos. So
yeah, and he's likely going for that Monster in a Box.
Lots of XP
for the offering. Because he's got the fixed dice, the monsters in a box are shuffled, which means you do have a chance to get Kitana Soul as a fight, which will give you offering, which is paired very well with fixed dice. Again, especially early in the game like this.
And gain a bunch of XP there, and he still has his Mooglesham off, so he's still fighting. Hope he won't lose many times to get out of the Collapsing House before the timer is off.
So one thing that was mentioned in the chat is there was a stray cat sighting, which is really good in a rage-based seed like we see now. Stray cat essentially being some of the highest physical damage you can do, and I believe it also bypasses defense. So it's just a really great rage ability all around, especially if you can pair it with something like a Valiant Knife and an Offering.
Or once again, or with the fixed dice.
Or with the
And
fixed dice.
you can also visit by berserking the fixed dice stray cat owner, and you do most of the rages.
Alright, so we've got Drew back now. It looks like he's doing some shopping and went to Thamiza in, I think, World of Ruin. So, not sure what went on in between there, but he's motoring along with looting and shopping.
And Jackimus is looking for another free check with the basement, South Figaro. We're gonna see Zetsa, so 5 character for Jackimus. No Esper for now. So Zetsa.
Setzer's a nice pickup. He's got the free check in Kalinjin, which is very fast and good. And also after doing that, if you're in the World of Ruin, you can quickly pick up the Daryl's Tomb check, which is I enjoy it quite a bit, mostly because it's got a decent amount of chests if you feel like getting them, but otherwise it can be a fairly fast check, and it's got a save point right before the boss. And finally, you can check and see what the reward is before you finish fighting the boss. So in certain circumstances, it's better to just reset out, and it's nice to have that early warning.
Yeah, right. And I didn't see what we had Starlet in the collapsing house. Just didn't see the magics on it. And for Zetzer check, so for Bojack, it's the Esper Terrato.
And that's very good. Him picking up an Esper, it is nice getting a lot of characters early, but it is also nice picking up some Espers so that as you level those characters up, they can benefit from the bonuses if they are applicable.
Yes, and there's already 4 characters in his team. If he grind up a little, the new character will be average level, and so will be better level. Then here he gets 5 character at level 3 or 5, I guess.
I'm not sure I noticed it before, but Lunar Chimera just picked up another Ragnarok in the South Figaro basement. So that's 2 Ragnaroks available early, which is really nice if someone can either spread them across a couple team members or pair that with a Genji glove. I know I'd be very happy
and we
with
can see
Ragnaroks
Rumblefield and Rumblefish and Bojack are doing the same checks at the same time. So we're gonna see which boss it is. The Baron Falls. It's Umaro, the most valuable Yeti, you know.
Yep, he always holds a special part in my heart. Love me some Umaro, as long as he's not attacking Welk's shell. I know I like him.
Or as long as it's not attacking KFK tier 4 when you don't need it.
Oh, that's some bad memories there, Mr. K. Doizik. Bad memories.
So Jack do it really fast. Gonna see what he can win. The thief sold, I don't know what, something at 28k.
Oh, it looked
Drew
like Drew
doesn't buy
sold
it.
the fixed dice early to get some money quickly. So he can quickly buy that Esper, which is Bahamut.
Bahamut. And the new character for Jack, Bojack, it's Edgar.
Which opens up another free check for him at the throne, which is good. So he's running through a lot of checks very quickly. With the time still being fairly low, that's good. Hopefully he can start finding some espers soon and start getting them on those characters.
Yes, because he will need Esper soon. He has already 6 character, 1 Esper. At 7 character is okay, but he needs 9 more Espers. I'm sorry, the image fixes. Yes, it's okay. I can see. So Rumblefish does the same thing, and Lunar Chimera is doing the Imperial Troop Basement, and he tried the chest.
Alright, nothing too exciting in the Figaro Castle shop on the left. Let's see if there's anything interesting on the right.
And Drew gets a bunch of earrings to overpower his magic, and he's doing some maneuvering with his Espers to mix up a little.
I do like seeing earrings early often, especially when there are rods available in shops. They can really help you out in the early game by doing a lot of damage quickly.
And it was Raiden on Edgar's throne. And we can see Lunar Chimera is doing the Imperial Camp check and opening the box for the chest for a monster in the box, finding a tiny Lobo.
You see that someone got a little cheeky with the flags and replaced Kefka with Chrono from Chrono Trigger, so that's a fun little Easter egg somebody dropped in there.
Yes, nice. And I think to remember to the people, it's time scaling, yes. So that's why. Oh no, time scaling, Easter egg.
Ah, you're all very clever.
I'm, as Mr. NTC said.
Much more clever
You see, Rumblefish and Bojack are doing almost the same route.
Jack. Looks like Jack is going for the felt check right now, so hopefully he can pick that up quickly for himself, and then he's positioned himself to likely do the Serpent Trench immediately after, probably depending who he gets. And it's Realm, which is always a nice pickup. Unfortunately, Blowfish hit Realm, and so he's gonna have to take another shot at that.
Yeah, and to the right,
and the Yeti.
And to the right there is Lunar Chimera fighting with Doom Dragons. It's not always a nice encounter, even soon in the game, because they can do Fallen 1. And we see Sabin Monk and Go being only 1 HP left and get Fireball. So wipe the Lunar Chimera team.
Which is unfortunate, but I think I get why he's going for it, because that can be a pretty valuable rage with the Doom Dragon. So if you can get that early by finishing that fight, that might be why he's sticking that out instead of using a smoke bomb or something similar.
Yeah, and as you said, Bojack is doing the Serpent Trench check. You said that already. He can smoke bomb or wapstone any fight, avoid any fight, if he doesn't feel comfortable against these monsters. But goblins are not so bad. As Franklin says in the chat, 7 character in 18 minutes. So Jack is giving us a really fast seed, but he has only 2 espers. So we have to see where it goes like this. And maybe 3 characters and 3 espers for Drew, but we're not sure. Luna Chimera is fighting the Umaro.
It'll be interesting to see now which checks Jack goes for with all of these characters. The Tritalk check is available, as well as the Searching the Skies with Setzer. There are a few checks available that you know are going to give you either espers or items, and so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him shifting towards those checks now, given that he's already got his character requirement.
And maybe the Magitech Factory, at least the 2 on the free checks, find items or espers, as you said. Maybe you can go to the auction house too. It's gonna be certainly later in the game when you will be at 8 or 9 espers.
Yeah, good point, Kate Toyzik. We also know that Bahamut is available at 10, and so we know, even though he doesn't have those yet, he knows where a couple more of those are going to be.
And Rulitz is fighting against the Doom Dragons also. And having some problems because, as we said earlier, all in one. Oh, okay, made it.
Okay, so Rumblefish just
Luna
got
Chimera is
Realm.
about to find. Luna Chimera is gonna find Edgar too.
So the runner is doing most of the same checks right now, finding the same things. I believe we could say Jack's a little bit ahead, but everybody is following the similar path right now, I would say. Drew has that 1 extra Esper.
Yes, and we see there's bunch of characters really early in the game that open a little bit the seed. So we're gonna see probably more different checks now, and Jack gets only a force armor for his trip to the Serpent Trench. Drew.
Okay, so while Mr. Enderdy, our lovely re-streamer, is trying out some stuff, unfortunately we're having some technical issues tonight, so don't mind the odd blip of the screens here and there. Jack doing a little bit of shopping in Nikia, or Nikea, as some people call it, due to the market. Nope, it's okay, sir. It is not your fault. Technology is technology.
And you're doing your best, so thanks, Mr. Entity, for all the work done.
Okay, so we see Rumblefish now also doing that Serpent Trench check, so unfortunately he's only going to get a force armor out of that.
Yeah, and the Druid opened the monster in the box in Nash to find the pugs. But
I didn't notice
in a
because
better shape than Luna Chimera at the beginning. Kill them.
Right. I didn't notice due to some of the issues, but I saw Drew sold the fixed dice. I'm not sure if he picked up something else that makes him want to pick up an offering, or sometimes people go looking for a Minerva in the box.
Got
he
it.
did get
he
the
got
Minerva
it.
there,
Is Minerva.
so that, not sure if that's what he was looking for or not, but it's always a good pickup. Of course, the Minerva giving you immunity to all elements.
And as we can see, and we didn't know, but Bojack is going to Moncolts to find a new checks, so he's not gonna do multi checks we talked about before. Find as a leader.
Yep, Jack always gets better time than me, so I'm not one to question. I am interested though as to why he's not going for the known Esper checks right away, as opposed to some of Sabin's other checks. But Mount Colt is a fairly simple check. It's a single boss, and there's a chest on the way. So, and it did end up getting him Odin, which is a nice pickup. So definitely worked out.
I got the third Esper, and everything is going well for him. 24 minutes in the race, so the enemies are maximum level 12. So I guess everything is okay for him. As you can see the other side of the screen, Luna Chimera finding Raiden on Edgar's throne, and Drulit doing some shoppings in South Figueros.
Yeah, hopefully, one thing we didn't mention with the scaling before is that while it is time divided by 2, the maximum scale level is 40. And so while sometimes the scaling can get away with you if you're not keeping up with levels, luckily there is that cap at level 40, so you can always kind of pull back.
And the chat told us that's the Dragoon Celeste for Drew, so made it a jumper.
I'm a fan of the jumping strats. I didn't actually catch it myself, but if Celeste's ability is jump as opposed to having to give her the Dragoon, and it is, as opposed to having to give her the Dragoon boots, it's nice that you can pair her with a Dragon Horn and something like a Hero Ring to really help boost that jumper's damage.
Yeah. And Bojack is fighting the Guardian as Rumblefish is finishing the Serpent Trench. And I saw Luna Chimera finding the Dragon Horn, so he's gonna do a jumper mug.
I hadn't noticed. I forget. I apologize if Lunar Chimera picked up Celeste or not. A jumper mog is more, I'll say, traditional, because that's what usually in the vanilla game you would jump with either Mog or Edgar, because they can equip the pikes and the lances and whatnot. Chimera does not have Celeste. Okay, so that explains why he's probably got a jumper Mog. It'll be interesting to see if he also makes that adjustment once he does pick up Celeste, if he does.
Yes, and we saw Jack killing the Guardian, and we can see what he gets from the realm mountain check. Esper's Mountain, Ramuh. So he's continuing his day, normally fast.
Ooh, and then we see Merton on Ramuh. So let's immediately equip that onto Celeste, and we'll see if he goes for those Merton strats.
He probably will if he can find anything to kill him or to protect him. The Merton. He's gonna do a fast check. He's gonna save and do the Phantom Train just to see what it's the back of the train.
And while that's going on, we're going to see Lunar Chimera going for the basement check for Edgar for the Figaro Castle basement. So we'll get to see what is hiding behind that.
Yeah, and Jack's found a unicorn, so he's gonna do checks right away to the Phantom Train bus, and we're gonna see in about 2 minutes.
Rumblefish
In the
is
Imperium
going
camp
to
for
find...
Rumblefish.
Yep, gonna go find Celes there and see if he also realizes that the Doom Dragon Rage is available, or whether he just runs from that fight.
And at this time, Lunar Chimera find Cyan. Cyan down to the basement of Figaro Castle. So he's gonna do the trip to the Tentacle Monster, and we can see Drulit doing a fight in the air. So I probably will be Doomgay spot, but I didn't see it.
Yes, it is. Yeah, he searched the skies with Setzer to take on that fight. So it'll be interesting to see with Lunar Chimera picking up Cyan, as well as likely doing the rest of the the Ancient Castle check that follows these typically, it's basically a total divergence from the path that Jack has taken. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out due to the number of checks that open up because of Cyan. He's got a lot of good checks to do.
Yeah, it's got lots of good checks, and in his dreams, 2 of these 3 checks can be espers or items. So for Jack, that could have been nice, but he will probably go back if he sees Cyan, because it doesn't need any character yet.
So now we see Rumblefish taking on that Doom Dragon fight. Hopefully he can make it through that all right.
Yeah, and the Lunar Chimera is fighting Air Force, and Jack is dealing with Aiden and the Aidenites.
Hopefully Air Force won't give too much trouble. It does depend how the scale element decides to select the options, but it's typically not too difficult of a fight. Reasonable hit points and reasonable damage. So hopefully Lunar Chimera makes through that okay.
Yeah, and 30 minutes, so level 15. It's not gonna do lots of damages. Same for Aiden, but with his 4 Aidenites, that can be stressful because they can confuse you, they can zombify you. So that can be a tricky fight.
Yeah. Depending on which espers and spells and abilities you have available, the hidden fight can either be very easy or very difficult. Luckily, Jack seems to have gotten through that okay. Unfortunately, it looks like Rumblefish had to reset out of the Doom Dragon fight there. It is very difficult because of that fall-in-one cast. And
yeah,
hopefully Lunar can pull this out against the Air Force, but it does appear to be giving him quite a bit of trouble. Oh, and there he does. That's good. That was looking a bit dire for a second, so good kill by Lunar Chimera there.
Yes, and we can see Drulith is going to Daryl's Tomb, so it's a new check for us. We're gonna see what he could find there. And Lunar Chimera is doing a little bit change for his team. Cyan, and he forgot he gets go out with the Moogle Charm, so you have to take this fight or fly away.
I'm surprised we haven't seen more running from fights, but it's not a particularly difficult fight, so I understand not running.
Yes, and Cyan is full of life, so normally it will be okay. I hope he can find his money back, because he's gonna need it for shopping. And yes, Jack is going to the flying fight, so with Dedaluma.
Yeah, and we see Drew going into Daryl's tomb here. Already finished most of the running around and puzzling, as it were. So we'll see what is behind that check very shortly. I believe he's the first one to make this check as well.
And Mr. E is he's talking about the cat scratch. So everybody gonna learn it because it's one of the fights in the Imperial soldier camp. So I guess everyone get there. And Jakim 7 is 6 espers with Golem. Golem is good. It's a good esper for the last fight.
Yep. Golem will be blocking the Calmness attack of Tier 3 in Kefka, which we'll see later, and I'm sure he'll be using. We did just see Drew see that behind Vargas here is the Phantom Esper, so he will be picking up his 6th Esper after winning that fight. So he's also motoring along quite well.
I didn't see it, so Phantom is good.
Rumblefish's screen appears to have frozen, so again, I'm hoping that he's able to get through this Doom Dragon fight all okay and get that rage for himself and pick up Celeste.
We all hope this, yes, Mr. Jab. And Drulit killed the 2 Aipu, so It's a 1-1, a 1, a 1, a 1 against Vargas. Normally, he won't have any problems to go through that.
So Drew looking like he's pairing the Ragnarok on Gao with the Rages. And there we just saw the Doom Dragon Rage, which freezes Vargas, so Vargas won't be doing anything else. So that's why we saw people picking up those Doom Dragon fights, because it can be very valuable.
Yeah, and Jax get Whisper with Starlet, so he's doing pretty well for now. I hope Luna Camera and Rubblefish can see them to see if they have any advance.
So we just saw Jack also sold his fixed dice, so I guess we've kind of passed the point of looking for that offering, and so he sold that because you can get such good money for it. And he'll be buying the Tsen Esper now as well, giving him the Bahamut Esper, and bringing him to 8 or 7.
8, I guess.
Can't count very well.
8, I guess, yes. And Mr. E told us it's a traditional Jack move to sell the fixed dice. He kind of ate them. He wanted to go fast, and rolling the dice is not fast enough for him, I guess.
Yeah, and I do understand that. While it can be a nice thing that eventually rolls high numbers and kills enemies, it can sometimes not roll high numbers for you, and so it can take a number of turns and a number of rolls. And if you really like going fast, sometimes you just need to leave it behind.
Yes, it's same for Flare Magic, which takes more time than the other, so Jax does not use it, in rare exceptions.
Now we see Jack going
Vector
for the
check,
Magitech
so.
factory. Yep, vector checks.
And you know, there will be nice weapons and nice armor in Vector. You know it.
Maybe not this time. So as we mentioned before, Magitech is a nice check. It's basically a 3-in-1 check. The first 2 guaranteed to be an item or an Esper, and the third one can be any of the above. So usually what you'll see, especially I'm sure we'll see Jack do it as well, is you'll do the first 2 checks, and then you will warp out of the Magitech factory to prevent having that third check, because it's lengthy, has a bunch of fixed encounters, and is often not worth it relative to going for another check.
Yeah, you're probably right. We're gonna see this, but as we told before, he likes to go fast, and the last checks is not the fastest one. You have to fight 3 fights and then 2 bosses to get something you don't know. So he better to have to do the 2 first checks and then wipe out. And we have the first dragon fight with Luna Chimera, with the blue dragon in the Ancient Castle.
Yep. Good to see we've got Rumblefish and Lunar Chimera back. The dragons are scaled, so it's with the time right now. So this dragon is somewhere around level 20, which isn't too bad, assuming he's got appropriately leveled characters. So hopefully he can make it through that fight all right.
Yeah, and Druid open the monster in the box in the Phantom Train and find the presenter. Since Jack is fighting against number 128, he won't have problem because they have fire too, so gonna be a real quick fight, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Unfortunately, Drew just healed Presenter for about 3,000 with an accidental ice cast, it seems. Unfortunately, the head went into the shell. It's too bad he doesn't have anything with instant death capability, because the presenter is vulnerable to that and can make that quite a quick fight.
Yeah, and Luna Camera still dealing with the Blue Dragon. I guess he's near the end now. Maybe yes, he's gonna lose Cyan. Yes, but he killed the dragon. So he's gonna have lots of XP since Jack just gets Ifrit. Sorry. So 9 Esper, 7 character for Jack. And life 2 times Jack... 20 on Ifrit.
Oh wow, that's a nice pickup. Yeah, so if Jack picks up an Esper here, he'll be making for a very good time for Kefka's Tower. I suspect if he does, he will go straight for it. And we see number 128's bigger, scarier brother, Inferno.
Yes, and as I told before, he has fire 2 for Jack, but no ice 2, so it's gonna be a little bit more difficult for him. But I'm sure he will do it. And I didn't see what Luna Chimera gets from the dragon. I guess it was Ragnarok, but I'm not quite sure. Ragnarok sword.
So a lot of Ragnarok swords available in this seed. It will be interesting to see if someone can get a Genji glove and decide to start swinging both of them at the same time. And as Franklin, our tracker, is pointing out, the castle reward was Cat Hood, which is unfortunate. It is a good hood to get, but generally not what you're looking for in a check like that.
Thank you, Franklin, to have more eyes than us, so can help us when we didn't see. And it's a dead check for Jack, and as we know, he will warp. But he has a flame shield, and talked about Merton strat, it can help.
Yeah, definitely. There are a number of ways to mitigate the wind and fire damage from Merton, as it does hit your party as well as the enemies, but Flame Shield is nice because it absorbs the fire and actually heals as though it were a Cure 3 for that person. So it is really a nice combination there if you can get as many Flame Shields as possible when doing a Merton.
And he's gonna do, I guess it's now World of Runes, so he's gonna go to see Valley Mongwar, Trideck. As we can see, Rumblefish still doing some grinding, I guess, in the streets of Nosh.
I do see that Rumblefish has got 2 jump commands available with Celis, which means he's got the Dragoon Boots as well as the Dragon Horn equipped. Might have to ask him about that after, since she has the native ability to jump. There isn't really a need to put the Dragoon Boots on her, because she can already do that. So it's often better to put something like an Atlas Armlet or a Hero Ring there, or even a Hyper Wrist to give you more damage on those jumps.
And we can see Drew having some little problems with his Aiden. Aiden is doing a level 4 flare. And yes, Sabine is a zombie. Sorry.
Well, luckily the only one who got hit by that level 4 flare was the zombie, so that's good. But yeah, it's a little bit scary once you start fighting Hidden and you take out all of the Hiddenites. He'll start doing some pretty powerful stuff. Usually he would be casting Grand Train. With it being scale element, he could be casting other non-elemental things such as level 4 flare.
And we saw Luna Chimera just by Bahamut, and he's gonna do the collapsing house to have Starlet, as Jack just fight his first dragon and get a flame shield again. So he's in a good shape for Merton strat.
I'm not sure if he's picked up anything else to help with those strats yet. I haven't noticed. We do know that the Minerva was available from Pugs, but I don't believe Jack would be fighting those.
And he has fire too, so Tritok, Vanilla Tritok, not gonna be a big problem for him. And Lunar Chimera find the Gigantos in the monster in the box in the collapsing house. As Rumblefish is still having some fights in Nash.
Gigantos is usually not who you're looking for, but when you're looking for monsters in a box, but he can be a nice find because you do get a lot of experience points from him. He'll also only physically attack, so if you have something like Image or you can cast Phantom and make everybody invisible, he won't give you any trouble. But he can hit hard and he does take a lot of swings, so he can be tricky every once in a while if you run into him at the wrong time.
And maybe we have a go mode with Jack with Crusader. This was Crusader, yeah. And he has Mute, so Mute can be useful against Tier 2 in Kefka. Jack already have his 10 Espers and 7 character, and he probably will fly away to Kefka Tower.
It'll be interesting to see. I think Mute was only ×3, so it'll be interesting to see if he takes a few fights or fights some dragons. As Franklin's pointing out, Jack's a pretty low level, and that looks like what he's going to do. He's going to fight the Opera House Dragon for that, which will really help him guarantee that someone learns that Mute, or as many people learn that Mute as they can, because he can shuffle it around and get some levels and maybe a nice item for himself as well.
Yes, so Dragon are everyone's favorite dragon, yeah. Dragon are always lots of XP, and it's certified XP winner, so it's better to do this than grinding anywhere and find some worse fights to get less experience.
And Red Dragon is a nice find for him, especially with the Flame Shields that he picked up earlier. So he definitely has some characters who will be safe from anything the Red Dragon's going to be doing.
Yeah. And Rumblefish still fighting in the Nash World of Ruin. And he learned Meteor and get... I think I saw Violent Knife as a gift, as a reward for this fight. And he's fighting the Skull Dragon we saw earlier on Jack Seed.
And we see Drulith also going into the MTech factory, fighting for those Espers as well. Can't remember. I believe it was only one Esper from that, from number 128. I can't remember if they also got an Esper from Inferno or not.
Oh, from Inferno it was a Flame Shield, and from number 28 it's gonna be Ifrit.
Yes, I realized I could also check the same tracking sheet that you are.
And Ifrit with life 2 times 20. I've only got one out of empty. I didn't understand, Mr. Entity. And the Lunar Chimera is doing the Doma Castle check to find Atma weapon.
I find Atma weapon is somewhat intimidating.
As we said.
Because of the spells that he can cast, but if you're capable of surviving his attacks, he's not too bad. He has no absorptions or anything or nullifications, so you can pretty much just hit him with whatever you've got at the time, as opposed to his upgraded bigger brother Atma, who can do a little bit more absorbing and is a little bit scarier for me.
Yeah, and we see Rumblefish killing the dragon, Skull Dragon, and yes, as Franklin says, 49 minutes, and someone whose name Bojack is already on the Kefka Tower. So it's not so underleveled, because 50 minutes, level 25 fights, but Kefka should be hard to beat right now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Jack takes on any of the dragons or the the boss in the jail cells along the way to gain a few more levels because he's so far ahead on time.
He probably will do it, but Jackie, he likes to go fast, so maybe he will avoid one or two of these fights.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he chooses to do.
That will be very unjack.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Luna Chimera gets rid of the Atma weapon, so we're gonna see what's the reward for this fight. Genji armor. So they
Interestingly, Drew seems to be going for
Luna
the third
Chimera.
Magitech check, which was a little bit unexpected. But it'll be interesting to see what's behind that if he follows through.
Yeah, and Rumblefish is dealing with meteors to get rid of Triduck. Not sure he has fire magic, so he's doing with what he has. Empowered, that can be good.
Yep, and he's using Meteor as well, which is a very mediocre spell. It's always dangerous when it's being done to you, it seems, but when you're casting it, it always seems to be a little bit underwhelming because of the spell power. The benefit, though, is that it has non-elemental damage, so it is effective against Tritok in this case.
And we saw the third flame shield of this Sid with the clock in Loma Castle, who gives a flame shield to Luna Chimera. And
yeah, Mr. Entity.
Mr. E says, Jack is checking the chest in gate, so it's not overconfident.
That red jacket was a nice pickup, as Mr. Entity also mentioned in the chat. That's 3 items now for Merton. So basically he needs one more elemental shield or piece of equipment, and he is going for the dragons, as we were wondering, either for the levels or for the chance at that other Merton gear.
Maybe the Ice Dragon will give what he needs. And it's an easy fight for Boris against FK. Nice one. And we saw he got a bunch of rods to throw him.
We see Lunar Chimera is going back for Celis now, after some unfortunate encounters previously against the Doom Dragons. Hopefully he can get through it a little better this time.
We hope so. And I didn't see what Jack get from the Ice Dragon.
Experience egg from the dragon, which is not what you want to see necessarily at the end here, but again, if he's fighting these battles for levels, and you can see he put them on Celis there, which is good. So now these people will have a chance at a little more leveling.
And the SR Behemoth that we all agreed it was for Senior Behemoth his way, and Druid fighting Nerapa for the second boss fight.
Oh, that's a nice find. Narapa's got very low HP, is vulnerable to instant death, so that's always nice to run into, as it's very, very quick.
Yes, and Strontium Behemoth. And we see Luna Chimera still dealing with the Doom Dragons.
Yeah, it'll be... we'll have to ask about the smoke bombs and see if he had smoke bombs or warp stones, because while I do think there's value in that rage, at this point I would definitely be saying bye-bye and skipping that fight.
Yeah, or press L and R and pray.
That's right.
Maybe we'll go through. And Rumblefish is doing the auction house at the same time. And for a Magicite.
We see Drew just picked up Realm, so he's actually getting pretty close to his go mode. Just needs to pick up another couple Espers, and he'll be good to go fairly soon.
And Rumblefish gets Shiva from the auction house. Luna Chimera is doing the second fight to get Celes. And Celes in Blue Jack stream have some problem with Blowfish Storm Dragon.
Oh, Rumblefish gets his second Esper right away at the auction house. That's some good luck there for sure. I looked like Seraphim, I think.
This Rumblefish 82 or Xelfer 85? These guys.
Yeah, the odds of getting those back to back is
Terrific.
fairly low, so that's definitely a great pickup for Rumble.
And Luna Cameras dealing with Doom Dragon again.
Jack finishing off the second
And,
dragon, kept his
you're
tower
right,
and getting the
Revelant Bay.
Magus Rog.
And Ravelin Bay, sorry, is right. Normally, he's rolling bad seed, but there it seems to be bad seed. And next is Mr. Entity to get attention to runners, follow them, go to their page. Interesting seed, yes, Ravelin Bay. So go to their page, you have all the links there. Follow people, the awesome people who are streamers. So Mr. Entity, thanks again for your job. Jaminator, always there. And Franklin, so Fryan 86, who's checking 4 screens at the same time, is our eyes tonight.
And he would never self-promote, but of course, my partner in crime here, Mr. K. Toyzik, always an entertaining presence in his stream, so check him out for sure as well. We see Drew just took out Guardian in Esper Mountain, which netted him the Ramu Esper, so he is looking to enter Kefka's Tower very shortly, hopefully.
This is 7-9, so only 1 Esper left. Jack's dealing with the Guardian with Poltergeist. Oh, it's not so nice it. And he stops Celeste, so it's gonna be a little bit hard for Jack. And Luna Chimera gets Celeste. And he's doing a party of 3 members, so I assume he's gonna do the Veld to find who's is at go spot.
Ooh, unfortunate for Jack. Celeste just got hit with Blaster, which knocks her down. The fortunate side of that is it does pull her out of stop, so she can start going and using the lesser characters there to boost her back up, so you can continue with the fight.
Yes, and Jack tried to remedy the stops, but it doesn't work. And Mr. Entity, you said it, but yes, you're doing a perfect job, and no one could complain about.
Well, we see Drew heading up north to Narsh there to fight the dragon and Tritalk, which will net him his 10th Esper, so I suspect he'll be in go mode very shortly after that as well. And Rumblefish just took out the Doomgaze check, which will get him Golem, which is a nice pickup as he's getting close to finishing his requirements as well.
Yes, and Luna Chimera just gets Realm from the Veld, so he's gonna do for an Esper chase as the other one. A little bit behind, but can do fast checks or go back to some of the checks he missed before. So we're gonna see him what he's doing.
Well, Jack's still fighting away at Poltergeist, casting Ice 3s, which are fairly effective, and just finished off Poltergeist there, so good thing that he didn't get hit with another Blaster or stop and was able to progress through that fight. Rumblefish heading into
And Tritok,
Esper
so
Cave.
Vanilla Tritok for Drulith, he has a bunch of fire rods, so he won't have any problem with this to deal. And
Yeah, I'm a big
Rumblefish
fan.
still fighting bunch of random fights.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of collecting a bunch of rods because you never know when you're going to run into a situation where you need them. And they do, while they do cast the Ice 2 or Fire 2 second tier of spell, they do bypass spell defense, so that's why they end up doing a lot more damage, as well as bypassing any reflect spell that an enemy might have. So they're always good to have in your back pocket.
And so Jack take the first statue down, so it was Ultros, and we gonna see Drulith going go modes. He had his 10 Espers and 7 character, 8 Espers and 7 character for Rumblefish, and Luna Chimera get its 8 character. I didn't see which one it was, or maybe I was late with round.
Looks like Drew's also
it,
going to
thank
take on
you.
that dragon before heading into the Kefka's Tower fight for a little more experience and chance at an item as well. So I'm sure he'll handle that quickly and then be heading into the tower very shortly after.
And Rumblefish found Retainers and Dark Force. Who's not that good. Retainer has a follow counter attack. So we hope he missed it.
Yeah, Dark Force can
And
be handy
it
to
was
find.
Crane for...
Sorry, sir, go ahead.
Sorry.
So Rumblefish fighting Dark Force, who can be good to find if you're collecting lores, because Dark Force will cast pretty much any of the lores in the game. But in this case, we're not collecting lores, so it's definitely a dangerous fight to take potentially, depending on your levels.
Yes, and we saw the rods still did the job for Drew. He could kill the fire dragons with ice rods easily and get a red jacket. And Jack get rid of the second statue. It's Crane, so he's gonna do the last statue fight before Kefka. And
Yeah.
Luna Chimera, I guess he found an Illumina in Miranda.
Well, that is definitely a good pickup for him. So Jack's got quite a lead here. He's likely going to finish all of the statue fights before anyone else enters the tower. So unless he really has a tough time with Kefka, he'll likely be maintaining that. And running into tunnel armor here on the right statue is not going to be any problem at all.
Yeah, Ravlin, you do a really jet seed. And we can see Realm with Bolt 2 will get rid of tunnel armor. So after 1 hour 05 roundish, Jack gonna meet Kefka.
And it was noted that he came into the tower potentially under-leveled,
And-
but with all the fights that he took, he's going into this fight at around high 30s, around level 40, so I don't think he'll have any trouble with Kefka.
Normally not, and he has special spells like Golem, and so sorry, I will speak in French. So he probably won't have much of problems, but Kefka is Kefka, and we never know what he can get for us.
That is true. That is true. So Drew did finally enter the tower, so he'll be proceeding through those fights now. I don't know if Drew will be taking the time to fight the dragons or not. He seems to be potentially
And-
leveled high enough already, so I'm not, unless he's looking for items still, I'm not sure that he will.
Um, so to answer to Fantastic Dawn, no, Kefka isn't scared. Thanks, Mr. TT. Faster than us. So he's at his true level, his vanilla level anyway. At around level 40, some runner can go through it.
And I don't believe the normalize and distort stats flag is on. So Kefka should be his normal vanilla self for this fight, I believe. So no strange hit points on any of the tiers.
We're gonna see what's Jack's strategy as Luna Chimera is doing the first fight in the Magitech factory against number 138. Hopefully for him he will get Ifrit, so his 5th Espers, and Rumblefish get the 9 Espers, so he only needs one more to go to Kefka's tower. It's really a jet set.
Drew also doing a little more looting than we'd normally see him do in Kefka's tower. I'm not sure if he feels because of the time that he might be ahead and might have that luxury, or if he just doesn't feel quite as comfortable as he'd like due to the speed of this seed.
Yeah, we never know what we can find in these chests. That can be something miraculous, that can be useless, but it's worth the try when the chests are near you. So maybe just check to reassure him to go to Kefka easily.
Yeah, we see Jack handily getting through tier 1, although Realm did take a dangerous amount of damage there. But it doesn't look like he picked up that 4th piece of Merton gear, so he's been using Cat Scratch as well as Fires and other individual spells as opposed to the desired Merton strats.
Yeah, and he's using Starlet to cure his team and trying to doom the tools in the middle of tier 2. So we see if he can get rid of tools. And Druid passed the first fight. And Luna Chimera is going through Infernos.
So Inferno can be a tricky fight, especially with Scale Element on and running into it this late in the seed. He's got a lot of powerful attacks, and with Scale Element, they'll turn into a lot of different powerful attacks, and he can really cause you a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and we see Jackim switch to Bojack muting the tier 2, so he won't have any odd magic against him except for the quarter and the dispels at the end of the fight.
Yeah,
now we
I'm
have
a little
to
bit worried about
manage with the 10 hits that will probably come soon.
Yeah, exactly. The 10 hits is potentially scary. We saw Realm taking quite a bit of physical damage on tier 1 and having fairly low hit points, so it'll be interesting to see if that presents a problem. But with magic muted, even if that is an issue, he will have time to get Realm back up into reasonable hit points before proceeding to tier 3.
Yes, and we can see Druid fighting the Guardian. Maybe the hardest fight in Kefka's Tower with Poltergeist, the spicy chicken. And Luna Chimera is going through the 3rd phase of Magitech Factory.
Yeah, which is unfortunate for Lunar.
Rumblefish.
Because Lunar's not looking for any more characters, and that's going to provide Lunar with Strago, which is, I do not believe, what Lunar is looking for.
No, and especially with Strago, we'll get bad checks and long checks too, especially the burning house. And as Franklin said, yeah, Rumblefish get his Moogle Charm off all the way to this seed, or nearly all the way to this seed. So yeah, he's gonna take more experience, I guess, than the other, but he took time.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was a conscious decision throughout the entire seed to go without Moogle Charm on, or if he's just kind of doing a gradual grind as he proceeds. We'll have to ask about that in the interviews afterwards if Rumblefish is available.
Yes, and we have to ask to Jack if he felt confident before Kefka's fight, and we're gonna see what he's doing with the Jeffrey.
Yeah, tier 3 can be incredibly dangerous.
By the Poltergeist, and Lunar Chimera is rolling to Kefka, I guess.
Yeah, tier 3 can be very scary because of the damage potential of Sleep. So it's comprised of two parts. Girl, which is the head on the left, and Sleep, which is the kind of laying down sort of body on the right. Once you've done 28,000 damage to Sleep, they will start spamming Meteo, which is a very powerful magic attack that can do a lot of damage to your team. So usually you have to try and heal through those quickly while still dealing damage to it. So it'll be interesting to see if Jack's able to get out of this without too much trouble.
Yes, and with Ram with 663 HP only, she won't resist that Meteor Strat. Oh, but she gets like a cure tree for the Merton Sleeps sent to her.
Now, one thing that's a little bit scary potentially is he's got Gao on the Stray Cat Rage, and so you can't really control when Gao attacks. So if he is trying to count damage, Gao might get ahead of him and might start causing certain things to happen before he's ready for them.
Yes, and as we can see in the chat, yes, there's two different calmness. The calmness from the girl, who just put you asleep, and the calmness from Sleep, paradoxically, gets you to death. And Druid killed another statue, so he's near to Kefka, to the great fight. As Rumblefish goes to see Cyan in the basement.
Interesting that he didn't reset out of this check, given that he's already met his character requirement and only needs one more Esper, but he may be feeling not powerful enough and wants to go through with it anyway.
Or maybe he's going to anyway to say, okay, I will do the fast checks with Cyan, maybe get my last Espers, and Jack and switch. Still has his 4 character to go to tier 4.
It was pointed out in the chat that he might be doing that on purpose to get the dream sequence for the sword tech unlock, which I believe Edgar has.
Yes, it's a good point from the chat from Brian. Thanks, Franklin. And we can see Blue Jack giving remedy to this team, to his team. And Drulit's going to the final fight. Lunar Chimera gets his Espers, and Rumblefish get rid of another monster. Still without Moogle Charm.
Yeah, definitely an interesting choice. So we're coming up on we're getting close to 80 minutes, which will be maximum. Now there have been some resets, so it won't be exactly the same for everyone, but we will be getting to max scaling for Rumblefish and Lunar Chimera at level 40 very soon.
Yeah, and we probably get under the 80 minutes for Jack. We're gonna see how we will handle this fight. He's throwing Flame Shield away while Kefka is shaking.
So he wasn't able to get Kefka down there for that, unfortunately. And so he's going to have to take this Goner. But I suspect, I haven't been counting the hit points, but I suspect Kefka doesn't have too much left.
And he resists to the Goner, and he did
GG
it.
for Jack.
So GG, Boo Jack, 1:15:45 second. It's a really nice time. You can put all the GGs for him.
We'll see if we can get him in here for an interview.
So maybe the winner tag is on Rumblefish also, as he's fighting Air Force, and Lunar Chimera is doing one of the checks. Nobody, or nearly nobody, likes the Burning House.
No, yeah, Burning House can be a problem for sure. A lot of flames and very hard to avoid them. So it ends up being a lot of forced checks, unfortunately, which you can run from with smoke bombs. But even with smoke bombs, you're forced still to take a bunch of those fights that you normally wouldn't have to. As Franklin in chat pointed out, perhaps he just wanted to see these very cool green flames.
Yes, maybe, yeah. And this very cool blue Overmind too. So it was a really nice time from Boo Jack, 1:15:56 on Ravelin Bay Seed.
And unfortunately, we've got a black screen on Drew again, but I'm sure he's rolling through the Kefka fight handily.
Yeah, Drew, as Franklin said, Drew has 40 rods, so he will be fine, probably.
So we see we've got Lunar Chimera and Rumblefish both still proceeding on, taking lots of fixed encounters and random encounters. So I got a quick glance at Rumblefish's levels, and he's exceeding 40. So I suspect the last couple checks here and will get easier for him as he goes, and then probably won't have too much trouble against level 40 scaled bosses in Kefka's Tower once he gets there.
What?
Looks like we've got Jack in the room. How's it going, Jack?
Rather well, I'd say.
Yeah, GG. Very fast seed. Very well done.
Yeah, the game kind of gave me everything I needed, so just roll with it.
Yeah, was there any, other than the speed of the seed, was there anything that you noticed? We saw that you might be going for Merton strats, but just couldn't quite find that fourth piece of equipment.
There's no need for Merton strats. I had Stray Cat paired with a Man-Eater, I had a Ragnarok, and I had Realm juiced up on a good dozen of Magic +2 levels. So, just the game gave me everything I needed to make a powerful team, and I just basically gave a lot of utility spells to Sabin, so I could, you know, stop a boss here and there, mute a boss here and there. It was pretty easy.
And we saw you did some unjack strats with fighting some dragons. You want to be prepared for the final fights?
Well, I was
Get
like level
more
I was like level 25 or something once I had 10 and 7, and it's like I might as well punk a few dragons. I'm only like 40 minutes in. It'll make the end game a little easier.
Right, and that experience egg probably helped boost Celeste up pretty quickly at the end there as well. So
Yeah, I probably gave her an extra 1,000 or so a swing since I had her in the 4 boss party.
And you did it well, 115. So congratulations again.
Thanks.
Do you have something else to say about your seed, your run?
Let's go, Bruins!
Yeah,
As always,
that's a
on
good
topic.
point. So, is this your final word?
It usually is, unless you guys had anything else.
No, we're good. Thanks a lot, Jack. Again, excellent race, great time. GG, and thanks for coming in and talking to us.
See you later.
Have a good night.
And thanks to Jax, and thanks to Françoise Harpy, who did a raid with 3 people. Merci Françoise Harpy, bienvenue. And we have a black screen for Druid, so I don't know what is going on there. And Luna Camera is fighting Dullahan as Rumblefish is going through the Blue Dragon for a Ragnarok.
Yeah, we did see Dullahan pulling out Scar Beam and doing some of that issue that you can find with the scaled element, where you get these kind of wacky, very powerful attacks that you wouldn't necessarily be expecting. Life 2 helped Lunar recover from that pretty nicely, but you can definitely see how that flag can throw you a curveball every once in a while.
Yeah, and as Jack said in the chat, so I'm scaling apps, but I'm not sure he has many dead checks. He has the Flame Shield in Magitech Factory. That's it. I guess that's it. That's his only dead check, or he maybe has another one. And Luna Chimera, unfortunately, he is dealing with a new character, Locke. So it's not for now. He's gonna be 210 Espers.
Yeah, I mean, at least Locke opens up a couple of free checks. Phoenix Cave can take a little bit of time, but it is essentially free. And he opens up Ragnarok, which may or may not have an Esper, but that's also a free check. So hopefully that can help him. Those will be good to him and give him some Espers that he needs.
Yeah, and we see Druid going to KFK tier 4. He's all his team, I guess. It was his beginning team. Oh, and it's black screen again. So Rumblefish gets his cat hood, so still not the 10 Espers he need, unfortunately.
We've got Drew back now. He's his double Ragnarok Genji glove on Celis is putting in some work against Kefka there. Shouldn't have any trouble with tier 4, I suspect, unless he slips for some reason. Going with much the same strategy Jack did, breaking all of his shields and just doing maximum damage as fast as he can.
Yeah, and the Mog gets an hyperdrive that kills him, and Luna Chimera gets a new Esper. In the Phantom Train, it's Unicorn, and he's going to fight the boss, who's Raiden, I guess.
Interestingly, taking a ghost fight here.
Yeah, first. And GG to Drulith. 124 and some seconds. So it's really a nice time. And I guess I always said under 124 it's a really good time. So just not for him. That's a really fast seed for 2 hours of our competitors. How fast they can go.
Okay, so we'll get Drew in here for an interview as soon as he's available. Unfortunately, we missed a bunch of his runs, so we'll see what he thought about it and if he had anything that he wanted to point out.
And Rumblefish is doing the Dharma Castle check, and effectively we have a perfect restream. So don't forget to follow our restreamer and our brothers. They are good guys. They can do a seed under 130. They can oh, I don't have the name in English. They can do a restream with 2 piece of
Just say it in
wood.
French. Add us
I
culture
prefer
to the
to.
stream.
They are MacGyvers of the restreams.
We do have Drew in here now. GG Drew, nice time, 124.26. Coming in second for the race. How did you feel about that one?
The seed was very easy.
Yeah, that's what Jack was saying as well. It was pretty much just go forward and do checks. There wasn't a lot of obstacles running into anything there.
Yeah, I was wondering about the realm route through the seed. I kind of got her late, but she was available early.
There was a Ramu Esper behind Esper Mountain. I don't remember. I don't know that we saw anybody take Ozers.
Okay.
I'd have to check. I'd have to check the restream or the tracking sheet for that. No, we didn't see anybody, so we're not sure what was behind there. But it was the Ramu check at Esper Mountain.
Very surprised to see Jack get a 115. That's actually pretty nuts.
Yeah, we were saying as we were watching him, he only had a single wipe very early to Kefka and Narsh, and then just decided not to do the check after that. And then I think only a single dead check in the entire seed. So it was very, very go for that seed.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I could see you just going check to check in this seed for sure. Especially with the time scaling, kind of keeping people low level, because because how fast you're moving and how much XP you're gonna get. Pretty much every boss is gonna be one shot if you're going fast.
Right.
Yep. But my question is, what did Jack do for Kefka? Did he just have high levels, or with 2 Ragnaroks?
He had I wouldn't say high levels. He actually went into Kefka's tower pretty low, but then he fought the dragons on the way, found an experience egg, and boosted people as much as he could. So he was mid 30s, low 40s.
Interesting.
I noticed that you were fighting a lot of monsters in a box. Were you looking for the offering specifically, or I saw you got the one Minerva?
Well, it was still kind of early in the seed, and I was just trying to find money because I knew where the rods were. And my plan was to use rods. I didn't realize how easy the seed was going to be, to be completely honest.
Right.
Yeah, I have just one question for you, Drew. I remember the last run you said under 124. It's 10 subs.
Yeah.
You did 124.26. Aren't you disappointed?
Yeah, well, the challenge is to get a 124XX. But I think that time divided by 2 shouldn't count. I had progress times 2 in mind. There's a huge difference there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, course,
Franklin was pointing out, I believe these are some of the fastest times we've ever actually had on stream. I've definitely never seen a 710 at 115, but I've also never seen a competitive 710 at time scale. So.
The only time I've seen sub 100 minutes is in the Router's Relish seeds we do, where you use the spoiler log and plan it out ahead of time.
Right, right.
So
So
any
like,
final thoughts? Oh, sorry.
oh no, you're good. I was just about to say the like a 120, 115 range is probably in the realm of theoretical best time for most seeds.
Yeah, for sure. Like K-Tozik was saying, do you have any final thoughts on the run, Drew?
No, just thought it was a pretty smooth seed. I think time divided by 2's pretty easy.
Yeah, agreed. Yep. All right. Well, thanks
So
very much.
GG
Appreciate
again.
it. GG.
Yep.
Coming in with the 124, and have a good one.
Yep, GG's. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks.
We
And
had.
we see, go for it, Jav.
Oh, I was gonna say we had we do have people in the community running this race in parallel off stream, and we just had our third place runner Zelfer come in with a 126.46. So we've got a lot of competitive times here going on.
Yes, and we see Rumblefish going to Kefka Towers. He get these 10 espers. And Luna Chimera not so far away with 9 espers and 10 characters. So we're gonna follow them, and Rumblefish still doesn't give Moogle Charm to anyone.
Yep, definitely giving us something to talk about in the interview at the end of the race for sure.
Really, yeah, for sure. And Juliet is fighting the monster in the sky, so Doomgaze plays. He killed Dedaluma real fast, and he's gonna get his 10 espers. So we're gonna see a nice race in the Kefka Tower, especially with Luna Chimera a little bit later than Rumblefish, but with Moogle Charm, so he's gonna go a little bit faster.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Lunar goes for the tower right away. I hope that he does. It looks like he's going to. Okay, good. So yeah, like you said, with Rumblefish not running with the Moogle Charm on, this will definitely be an interesting final tower.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he put it on. I did see he finally used a smoke bomb to get out of a fight, which I don't know that I've seen yet. So
I'm not
may,
sure
may have
too.
abandoned the random encounter strategy and might just be going for it now.
Yes, and against Senior... No, I don't remember what the name Mr. E gave to Senior Behemoth. And
Senor.
he's trying to capture... To steal him a little bit, but he has nothing. He will give the Behemoth suit, but after the fight. Oh no, you won't have the periodic table out, I assure you, Mr. E. Thanks.
So it's interesting that Setzer's health is being kept low. I didn't notice if Rumble is running a Valiant Knife on Setzer and is keeping him low on purpose to maximize that damage.
Yes, he did. And he get the Valiant Knife as I saw before. He has it on a random fight, so it was a nice strat anyway. Smart Behemoth from Ceiling Cat, welcome.
And we see Rumble taking out the various prefix Behemoth as the first boss fight. I think I noticed that.
And it's quite...
Sorry to interrupt there. I noticed that Setzer was only level 26, so he might not actually be a key character in Rumble's team.
Yeah, and I saw Luna Chimera doing a random fight, so I guess he doesn't have Moogle Charm, or maybe he put it now. So we're gonna see. Yes, I guess he put it back. Rumblefish is going straight without the Moogle Charm.
Perhaps he saw these finishes coming in the Discord and decided it's time to kick it into high gear and start start racing towards Kefka.
Maybe.
So it's interesting. I see that Rumble is essentially trying to equip the secondary teammates as well as he can. It's something that I used to do in the past. One thing to be careful there is sometimes you'll put things on those characters that you actually want your final characters to have, and it becomes a bit of a menu nightmare trying to get those things back off. So hopefully he's not going to run into a situation like that moving forward.
Yes, maybe you give the flame shield you need to crack against Kefka, so you better have to watch again just before Kefka fight. Get rid of all this equipment.
Exactly. And between trying to switch back and forth between the three teams, that can be a lot of menuing time that you don't want to spend.
Especially in the jet seed like this. Because as we can see, 115, 124, 126 you said for Zelfer. Probably without the burning house.
Yeah, we haven't had any other racers come in with a finished time. We've had a couple of forfeits, but fourth place in the race is still up for grabs for these racers, and third place on the stream, of course. Very close between them.
Yes, and we know that the FCAS Tower fights aren't so bad, except for Poltergeist the Guardian, so they may go through pretty easily. Question mark stays on how bad will be Kefka.
Yep, that's a good point. Kefka's always a question mark, and a wipe at Kefka is always a possibility, even for the best of racers. So it's always a race until it's over, for sure. So even though it looks like Rumble has a slight lead here over Lunar, that isn't to say that Kefka can't mess all that up for them.
Yes, and Kefka can take many times too. Even when you kill him, you may have take time to get rid of sleep many times. You said yes, even the best can get problem with Kefka, and even the worst too. We all know.
Yes, we both have some personal experience with that.
No, not at all. Maybe. Perhaps. Sure.
Yeah, so they're very close. It's basically the run to the switches here between them at this point. So it'll be interesting to see how Poltergeist does, who is the only real potential barrier between these racers and Kefka. I believe the other two were Tunnel Armor, and I honestly don't remember the other because they're so inconsequential, but Poltergeist can give anybody a rough time.
Yeah, I guess it was an Ultros, and I really don't remember now. But yes, it's Poltergeist, and the other one will be much easier. And they have pretty good levels, so I guess they will be okay.
Yep. Like we said, we are past the maximum scaling point with the time, assuming there haven't been too many resets and that their in-game timer is fairly close to the live timer we have on the stream. So what we should be seeing is a level 40 Poltergeist. One thing that can get scary with the scaling with Scale Element on is, I believe after level 42, any bosses have access to some really scary spells, such as Ultima. So we shouldn't be seeing anything like that because the maximum scaling is 40, but even if you bump up that scaling a little bit, these seeds can get a lot scarier at these max times quickly.
Yes, and don't forget when we said level 40, it can be between level 39 and 42. So if you're not lucky, the Poltergeist can be level 42 and can do something like Fallen One. We didn't see.
We just saw it there on Rumbleship.
They did it to
Rumblefish.
Rumblefish.
So we do have side-by-side Poltergeist fights going on here. I think Rumble started their fight a little bit sooner than Lunar Chimera, but only has Celis doing the jumps right now, so interesting to see who comes out of this first.
Oh yes, and Franklin said that scaling team maxes out at 14, so there's no distortion until 242, so sorry. Thanks for precision. And a Rumblefish got wiped by Poltergeist, so he will have to do a little bit tracking now.
Yep, yeah, and that's why Poltergeist can be quite scary. Definitely has some powerful spells. We see that Lunar is dealing with 2 players down now and is trying to revive Realm. But yeah, Poltergeist can be very scary. With Blaster being able to take out anybody quickly, you can mitigate that with a safety bit or a memento ring, but you rarely see that.
Yeah, and you have to wait because he always stops you just before the blaster. So if in this case he stops Sabin, he can't do anything until the blaster.
It looks like Rumble may not have
Jack,
saved.
Yes, Jack, chainsaw, we saw it. Very beautiful.
Yes, thank you for keeping the stream PG. I was saying though, I doesn't look like Rumblefish saved at the tier 3 fight, or maybe did that first and then saved, as opposed to running forward with the others.
Yes, he did the route with the team 3 at first, so he has to do the route with everyone now again. And Lunar Chimera also wiped by Poltergeist, so they have to deal with him again. And as you said before, it's gonna be the referee between their 2.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they make any adjustments to come into this fight a second time. The way it works, because you can choose which switches you hit in which order, you could come at it with a different team than you came at it with the first time. So it'll be interesting to see if either of them makes the switch that way, or if it's just gear that they switch around. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yes, we'll see in some seconds. So for Rumblefish, he only has to deal with the first team to go to the door. I guess Lunar Chimera is a little bit closer. Yeah, already did the routes with the team 1, but not with team 2 or team 3. So little advantage for Rumblefish again. Oh, and Lunar Chimera have to do the fight against Stronium Behemoth, Spell Revivify Behemoth, or anything like this.
So it looks like Rumblefish is going to be using the same team to go for Poltergeist again with Setzer.
Yes, and as Franklin say, the scaling is hyperdrive, so not a nice attack too.
Yeah, it's interesting how
another way.
Oh, yeah. That's a smart play, actually. Going another way and taking some of these other fights first to get a much faster save point if necessary. It's definitely a smart move at this point.
Yes, and they have to deal with the crane, so the left one is weak to fire, The right one is weak to bolt. Please don't mix, and he avoid an iron ball, so it's good for Sabin because it's a really hard attack.
And it will be interesting with the scaling again, we keep mentioning it, but this is a different fight than it was for Jack and Drew, who came through much earlier and not having these cranes scaled max. So it'll be interesting to see if they pull out any difficult spells or attacks on Edgar and Sabin here.
Yes, and Drew had lots of rods, so he could get fire and bolt really easily. But Rumblefish did it, and he can save and avoid to do the road trip again.
Yeah, that was a really good play, and it looks like it'll be interesting to see if Lunar does a similar thing, or just goes for Poltergeist head-on right away as well.
Yes, we're gonna see this. And so Rumblefish doing some menuing, and he's going with Cyan. He wants to keep Spicy Chicken for the end. Nearly end, because it's still a statue behind him.
And we do see Lunar doing the same thing. I've got to say, I really do think that's the right play here, and it'll really help them not have such a long run and make it a lot easier to recover if they wipe to Poltergeist again, which is a very real possibility with the difficulty.
Yes, and the Lunar Chimera doing the same strats as Rumblefish, so going to the left fight to find the crane, and so we could save. Oh, I don't have the name in English. Not far away from Kefka.
Rumblefish not going to be having any troubles here with tunnel armor, I suspect.
As Mog stumbled his dance, but he gets through anyway.
Yeah, as being mentioned in the chat, this randomizer is in active development, and there is a new version hopefully coming out in the next month or two, but it is available as a dev version right now and has some fun new flags that I'm sure we'll see in some upcoming community races. One of those being no stumbles on dances, which has got a lot of people's eyebrows being raised right now. Really puts a lot more utility into the dance command if that flag is on.
And we're gonna see a lots of dance seeds, so it's gonna be really nice for everyone. There will be other change, but we probably see them in the next weeks. Maybe after the KGP.
All right, so we see Rumble making another attempt here at Poltergeist. Unfortunate couple of swings there. Hopefully Gao can get Celis back up. And we've got Lunar taking on Tunnel Armor, so again, shouldn't be too much trouble for Lunar on that fight, and then they'll both be on the Poltergeist fight together. Definitely neck and neck here at the end on stream.
Oh, but Go has Death Protection, so he's not dead with the blaster, but it's still on stop. So Rumblefish has to wait lots of time, unfortunately, and Lunar Chimera get rid of the tunnel armor. And he stop again, Rumblefish, damn.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. Oh, but it missed, so that's good luck that it missed. Stop it takes a long time. It's not as bad as getting frozen in place, but it does take a lot of time.
And he resists to the S-Cross, so maybe the shock will do the trick. I hope for him, no. Not yet, but he has good evade, so avoid most of the attacks of Poltergeist.
Yes, hopefully this rage does what it needs it to do through the rest. Ooh, that's big damage. Hopefully he can make it through these next few hits and take Poltergeist out as Lunar starts their fight on the right. Ooh, that shrapnel is going to be
Yes,
bad.
and
Oh, good miss.
as Franklin did point it out, we were joking about Poltergeist just before the race, but we said it will be at Kefka Nash. I don't remember. Someone said he's gonna be in Kefka Tower, but I don't remember who.
And unfortunately, a Merton takes out Rumblefish. Unfortunately, he had the rage going with Gao, and his two non-raged members were both killed very quickly. So kind of had to hope that the rage worked in his favor, and it just didn't quite work out for him.
Yes, he had no luck for being stopped with Celeste at the real beginning, so he had to deal with his rage on. So Hail Mary, and we'll see, but it doesn't work this time. Hope he's get better now.
Yeah, we see Lunar seems to be having a better time. I hope I'm not jinxing it, but he's keeping the two people alive, taking some good swings, doing some good damage. So hopefully this works out for Lunar, and they can progress to the actual Kefka fight. We see Rumble in for round 3.
Yes, and thanks for not jinxing people, because having hard time now, but they can do it, and hopefully they will do it. But Rumblefish gets stopped. Oh no, he missed the stop on Go, so we're gonna see what Go can do.
Now Rumble did make a good adjustment there, provided Gao with some fire absorption, and so it'll be the same situation, just being rage, doing shocks and attacks, but the majority of those attacks should be absorbed now. So hopefully Gao can pick away at this fight and end up finishing off Poltergeist. And unfortunately, Lunar also had a wipe. Just having a lot of difficulty with this Poltergeist here at max scaling.
Yes, and Rumble learned from the last fight, so as you said, he gave protection from fire, and he gives also runic for protection for stop. So normally he will be okay, except if Poltergeist multiplies the physical attacks.
We see Lunar is making a bit of an adjustment. I saw him put a red jacket on Sabin. Ooh, there's the Ultimas that we were scared of.
You jinx.
Oh goodness, that's tough.
Yes, that's really tough. It's hard to see that because they're 2 steps from Kefka, and they're doing everything they can to kill these Poltergeists.
I'm glad they keep going it for it, though. I think I'm not sure if they're keeping an eye on the Discord or not, but they would notice that no one else has finished yet. So the fight for 4th place is still up there. So definitely worth continuing to go for sure. So hopefully one of them can get past this soon.
Yes, and we saw that the first place, so the podium is well-known players and good players of this game. So you don't have to worry to have 30 or 40 minutes more than them, especially when you begin this game. I guess Lunar Camera began 2 months ago, so he's doing pretty well, and Poltergeist is giving hard time to everyone.
One thing I will say that I'm seeing is, and someone in chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm fairly certain that the damage from Ultima is actually split. So if these players are scared of Ultima, but they can keep 3 or at least 2 people up, if they do happen to get hit with an Ultima, they can be in a lot better shape to spread that damage and survive. So you saw that last time Rumblefish only had Gao left alive and took a 4,000 damage Ultima, which he's not going to be able to survive. But if he can keep more players open and gets hit with an Ultima, or more players up and gets hit with an Ultima, he'll be able to split that damage and potentially keep, not basically wipe the party to 4,000 damage Ultimas.
Yes, but as Franklin pointed out, it's true that Ultimas and Flare Star 2 can be single targets with these scaled elements.
So Lunar looks to have made some defensive adjustments and is swinging a little bit lower towards Poltergeist, but trying to keep Sabin and Realm topped up a little better. So hopefully that'll make the that'll be the adjustment that he needs to get through this.
Yes, and they are neck and neck. Right now they're fighting the same boss. They have the same statue left behind, and the two of them as two valid characters to fight, and Lunar Chimera get rid of the guys.
Hey,
Well done.
right on. That's good. Hopefully we see Rumblefish coming up behind, but Lunar moving forward onto the Kefka statues, or Kefka fight itself is a nice piece of progression. It's got to be a sigh of relief for Lunar.
Yeah. And they found a tincture that it doesn't care, probably. And
You have to get that
Ultros
chest. It's good
get
luck chest.
a pause before the last fight, yes.
So we see Rumble now taking a little more care to keep all three of them alive. Hopefully this works out in their favor. It is risky raging with Gao because of how quickly Poltergeist can take out the other characters. We've seen it a number of times previously where Setzer's fairly low level and can go out to something pretty innocuous, and then Celis gets stopped and blastered, and then you're just left with Gao raged. So hopefully you can keep them up, get through this fight, and we'll have a nice close Kefka fight after it.
Yes, and we saw what Franklin pointed out just before. Poltergeist did S-Cross only on one single character, and Rumblefish get rid of Poltergeist. So it's a really close fight. It's a really close finish.
As Jack pointed out, Celis has got jump on Rumblefish's screen, which we're going to be asking about in the interview. I suspect that there are Dragoon boots equipped there, but likely not needed. Might either be for the memes or just because of a misunderstanding of how the jump works.
Or he jumped over Poltergeist, maybe.
Alright, well Rumble should make fairly quick work here of Ultros, and then we'll have the dueling Kefka fights going. And while it was pointed out that their leveling Kefka should not give them as much trouble as that Poltergeist did, Kefka, as we mentioned before, is always a bit of a wild card, so it'll be interesting to see how they proceed through this final fight.
Yes, we're gonna see it soon, so it's gonna be a close run, a close fight, so it's good for us, it's good for the viewers, and don't forget to follow all these runners, and if you don't know our page, and follow our rest streamers. They are good people. We have Hypertronus again. Sorry, thanks, Mr. E. So I said they are good people, especially Mr. E. We did a rest stream with best quality ever. Javinator, my co-commentators, and Franklin. We did the checks.
And of course the man himself, Mr. K. Toyzik, who's my other half in this stream, doing a wonderful job. So we see here we've got tier 1 on Lunar's screen, and Rumble will be starting that soon. Often what you'll see is that the runners will attack the head and the long arm, it's called, which is the closer arm to the screen first. And that's mainly because there are potential counters from each of the 3 parts of the tier 1 fight. And the counters, if you leave the head last, will be Quake, and if you leave the long arm last, will be a series of shockwaves. So you don't want that. So usually what you'll see is people clearing out the head and the long arm first, and then finishing with the short arm, the further away arm.
The short arm that always counterattack with physicals, but Lunar Chimera has enough defense to go through and to pass to the tier 2. And Rumblefish is killing the head nearly right now.
Now we did see Rumble using the chainsaw on the long arm. The chainsaw is vulnerable to instant death, but it looks like he is not doing that strategy anymore, and it's just going for damage.
Yeah, so the long arm is vulnerable to death, so Odin, Raiden, or Doom. Even Break works with this hand. And as for tools in the tier 2, is vulnerable to instant death too, with Odin, Raiden, and Doom. So sometimes it's better to get rid of them quick.
Yeah, as was mentioned earlier, because we do have sword tech on Edgar and Cyan acquired, we did see the potential for someone to go for the Cyan's Dream checks, which will unlock the number 8 Cleave, which is a popular choice for these fights because it will kill the long arm and tools in tiers 1 and 2 respectively. It can be really valuable.
Yes, Cleave too, I forgot it, yes. But we see in Rumblefish that he doesn't kill the head for now, so he have to prepare to a quick counter, and he just lost Edgar. So he's not in the nicest shape for now.
Yeah, that's one of the dangers of attacking that short arm. As you mentioned, it does have physical counters, and those counters can hit very hard. As we saw with Edgar, I think taking something like 1500 damage on that hit.
Yes, and Sabin get rocked. So he has to manage with lots of things at the same time. On the other screen, Luna Chimera lost Rum, so I hope he can get her up before the end of this fight.
Usually the order for this fight leaves, you'll leave magic last. So in tier 2 there are 4 stages from left to right. There's magic, tools, hit, and tiger. And so they all have various counters that you have at the end. Magics being either dispels or quarters, which are not very dangerous. So you'll often see that left last, but I believe Lunar took it out first. So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of this fight goes for them.
Yes, and we saw that you said earlier. So with the Quake counter, we get rid of Science and nearly Go is just 123 HP left. So we hope he won't wipe another character right now.
What is interesting is that with all of the leveling and random encounters that he did, Celis filled that spot and is fairly well equipped and has pretty high hit points. So it doesn't look like it'll be too detrimental for Rumblefish.
Yes, and he muted the magic at behind tier 2, so he won't have lots of problems with magical spells, but he have to deal with the tools, the tiger head, and the hit.
Oh, and Lunar just finished off hit and is taking the 10 hits final counter. Luckily blocking and missing with most of them, or doing negligible damage.
Yes, I guess Lunar Camera gets lots of good defense, and he killed the tools for the end. So not the usual way to deal with it, but he gets on tier 3 without lots of problems, I guess.
As Franklin mentioned sometimes in the chat, sometimes he takes out magic before a hit, so it is up to personal preference, and it's one of the beautiful things about this randomizer is lots of people do the same things in different ways.
Yes, it depends. If you can deal with water and 10 hits really close together, it can be bad, but with this kind of defense they have, they are not really afraid of 10 hits, so it can be okay.
One thing that's nice is with all the Ragnaroks we saw picked up in this seed, Lunar Chimera made very quick work of Girl with 3 swings. Girl absorbs all elements and is sometimes difficult to deal with depending on how you've built your party. So being able to swing with the Ragnaroks there was able to take her out very quickly.
Then we see the Meteo counters, so Lunar Chimera has to be careful with this, and he lost, unfortunately, Realm for the rest of the fight. And avoid the calmness with Golem, and go to tier 4.
Yeah, so that's not great, but I think he's still in pretty good shape for this tier 4 fight, especially with Rumblefish being on tier 2. As long as he takes his time, Lunar shouldn't have too much of an issue with tier 4 here.
Yes. And as the chat says, murder child get murdered. That's not nice. And magic can cast life free, and it can be a mess for us.
So I didn't notice whether Lunar found a Mega Elixir at any point during the seed. I don't remember seeing a Magi Master being fought, so it'll be interesting to see how the Fallen one is dealt with.
I guess he was using Cure Free, so he's waiting for a jump. And maybe if he had, but I'm not sure, he can steal a Mega Elixir to FK tier 4. But it's not a good percentage.
As was pointed out in the chat, unfortunately, Snare from Dance did not instant kill Tools, which is too bad because that would be a pretty cool way to get rid of Tools. But unfortunately, was not possible.
The only boss who touched the ground is the Tiger in tier 2. So the gunner for Lunar Chimera.
And we've got Rumble moving on to tier 3, but Realm is unfortunately down from that Merton. Luckily, after the first Merton cast, and until you get to the Meteo counters, it's not too bad on tier 3.
And the bad Evoquink, 99,000 damage to 7. So
Smart.
Edgar is going to do life 2 everywhere.
It is smart that Lunar is going for the revives as opposed to just trying to push through the damage. A lot of Havoc Wings coming out, but some good blocks by Edgar. I'm a little bit nervous about these jumps from Mog. Yeah.
It still has Mog, and he has to be careful because he did it, yes. That's good
very
game,
good.
Lunar Chimera. So, third place on our stream. Well done. we see Rumblefish is dealing with sleep. So he's gonna be probably nearly tier 4.
We'll see if we can get Lunar in here for an interview.
Okay. And KFK just does train. That can be pain for some characters, and he's going with a Meteor who miss all the 4 characters from Rumblefish, so it's a chance for him to
Yeah, train
tier
can be
4,
really
and
bad.
he gets 2 helmets.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, he's still got 2 fully decked out characters going into tier 4, so hopefully he'll be doing all right. For this, it'll just slow things down, but as long as he's careful, he shouldn't have too much trouble with Kefka tier 4. We do have Lunar in the chat, though. GG, Lunar.
Thank you.
Well done. How did you find that seed?
Overall fun. Spicy chicken was extra spicy.
Yeah, we had yourself and Rumblefish here neck and neck, both having very rough times with Poltergeist, and then both getting through Poltergeist at almost the same time, so it kept things interesting on the stream for sure.
That's good.
Did you have any particular hiccups during the stream? I noticed there was some trouble with the Doom Dragon. I saw a few people going for that. I think it was for the Rage.
Yeah, I found that. I ended up finding it because I went in to see what was there, and it was Celis as the character, and then found double Doom Dragons, and I was like, well, I'll come back to this later.
Right, for sure.
And you did it through the tier 4 and gets the final Ultimas. Weren't you afraid to give the last hit to Kefka and maybe have a second Ultima in a row?
Oh no, that was a weird one. I lost track of the health as I was paying attention to something else, and I looked back and realized that he was there, or when he ultimated the first time, and I was like, I think I'm close enough, so I just went for it. But I did make sure to jump with Mog before I hit him with Sabin, so that was the safety net. Because if it wasn't enough on Sabin, the Dragon Boots, Dragon Horn should be good on Mog.
Yeah, for sure. There were a clutch couple of Havoc Wing blocks there by Edgar for sure at the end.
Right.
That was looking very scary with I think 3 Havoc Wings in a row and then an Ultima right after it. But you were able to block those and then survive the Ultima and get through it. So right on.
Definitely gonna have to go back and watch this one though, seeing that Drew and Jack were done. What was it? Drew, Jack, and Zelf were all done in less than an hour and a half.
Yeah. If you took the right path and you hit those encounters really efficiently, definitely were able to speed right through this seed for sure.
Right. Yeah, I got unlucky with that because I ended up finding characters instead of Espers when I wanted Espers. Not the right ones.
Yeah, we saw that number going up for sure. Did you have anything else you wanted to say to everybody before we focus on Rumblefish finishing off here tier 4?
No, I think I'm good. Other than GG to all the runners, and it was a fun time.
All right, thanks a lot, Lunar. GG.
Yep.
Well
raced.
Yep.
GG's. And as you were talking, Rumblefish did nice strats with Runic. Runic, you can avoid Ultimas or Hyperdrive, and he gets to Kefka's 2 hours, 13 minutes, 38 seconds. GG to him. GG to all the runners there.
Yeah, interesting, as Jack mentioned in the chat, Rumble actually ended up using 8 characters in the final battle, which is absolutely not normally seen, so very cool to see.
Yes, but he did grinding all the way, so all his 8 characters were valid for this fight, and he used them well, so he was pretty unlucky with the double calmness at the end of tier 3, But he made through.
All right, so we're just going to be getting Rumble in here shortly for an interview, and then we'll have a chat with Rumble and see how he felt about that seed. So welcome to the chat room, Rumble. GG, well raced.
Thank you much.
How did you find that seed?
I found that seed to be basically it was smooth sailing. I thought for the first 7/8 of it, then the last eighth, especially with that repeated repeated wipes to poltergeist at the end. Then is when it was kind of got the challenge really was known.
Yeah,
we have some question for you.
Okay.
Sorry,
No,
we have some
ahead.
question for you about the Moogle charm. It's a lot of random fight. So was it on purpose? I guess at the end it was on purpose, but so you fighting like nearly everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, my general approach has always been to take random fights because when you get experience points, that helps you build a level, and levels are always good. And generally speaking, I think they're good to take on. I know a lot of other runners take a different approach, and maybe they have the better approach. But usually, I try to take on random fights because I do want to get my levels up there. Because the more levels you have, the more easier the end game is going to be. So levels are a good thing. That's what I think.
Right on, yeah, makes sense. Something I wanted to ask about as well is the double jump command on Celeste. I believe you had her equipped with Dragoon boots, right?
Right. Yeah, I never saw her do a double jump though.
Yeah. So if her command is jump, you don't actually have to give her the Dragoon boots. You can actually really take advantage of that jump by giving her the horn. And then you can give her that second accessory like an Atlas armlet or a
Oh,
hero
you know
ring.
what? I
and
got
it can
that. I
really help
misread
you
that. I
out.
thought I got the dragon horn, not the dragon boots. That's why that was all about. I just
Okay.
misread that. Which is kind of a weird thing to misread, but that was all about.
Oh, I get it. When you're in there, you're focused and you see what you see.
I got dragged something. I thought, okay, well that's just so that's how that explains that.
The only other thing I wanted to ask about was we saw you motoring along, and then I think you only needed one more Esper, and
Right.
you saw I think Cyan in Figaro basement, and we were wondering whether or not you were going to reset out of that, or whether you were going to move forward and take Cyan with you. What was your thinking there, acquiring Cyan as opposed to maybe resetting out and going for another check?
Yeah, because that was actually a thing that I was thinking about, knowing that I need to have one more Esper, and then seeing that if I complete the dungeon, I'd be getting Cyan, not an Esper. And I was like, well, I mean, I wanted an Esper, not a character, but characters are they can be useful, and even if you have more than you need to get the Kefka's Tower. And then I thought, also Cyan has that really easy check, so at Doma Castle in the World of Balance. So I just thought, well, okay, just go ahead and get Cyan, and then you can get the really easy check in World of Balance to finally get the last Esper I needed. Of course, then I got the sidetrack in Ancient Cave, and I got a cat hood out of it. Nice equipment, but not what I was looking for. And then I did go to the Doma Castle fight, and it was an item, not an Esper. I think I had to. I even forget where I got my 10th Esper at this point, because it was because I was doing really well, I think, because my earlier selections I racked up a lot of characters really quickly, but then towards the end I was not able. I was trying to find an Esper, and I wasn't. I kept finding items or characters, which wasn't what I needed.
Yeah, for sure. That definitely just happens sometimes. You go for the checks and they don't give you what you need. But it worked out, like we saw in your final Kefka fight. You went through a lot of characters, and because they were all leveled up, you were able to still be effective throughout the tiers. So it did work out having all of those characters equipped and ready to go for that fight.
Yeah, that was definitely because the double columnist from the tier 3. I was a little anxious because I know the last 2 I had weren't that leveled up. So, but I was able to pull it off with the 2 of them just fine, and the 2 lesser characters too. But overall, I think this is a pretty good seed. I mean, it was just a lot of fun plowing through early on and getting some characters cruising through that, and then just the snag and the poltergeist was really a unpleasant surprise, especially when I lost so much progress because I had a lot of hubris going in there first, thinking, yeah, this is my A party. They're going to be able to take on whatever is in that guardian spot. But no, turned out that I really overestimated that capability going after that and that poltergeist. And it was also kind of needless for me to have so many wipes because I had a flame shield, and I probably should have had that equipped early on to mitigate the poltergeist flame attacks. So, but I got through it eventually after I think 4 times the charm.
Right. It was interesting for us to watch because you and Lunar Chimera, who finished less than 4 minutes apart, were actually on the same poltergeist fight at the same time and having the same number of wipes and then getting through after the same number of fights. So it was actually really interesting for us to watch you both making adjustments at the end to get through there finally. Mr. K. Toyzik, do you have any final questions for our runner, Mr. Rumblefish?
No question. You ask everything. It was nice. And GG again. And do you have any final thoughts for us?
I think that the sea was a blast, and the community race is a blast, and the Blitz Collide community is a blast too. So I always have fun doing the community races and joining you guys.
Well, awesome. Thanks a lot. Thanks for running. It was a fun run to watch. Congratulations on coming 5th, and hope you have a good night and a good weekend.
All right. Thank you guys much.
Yeah, and thanks, Mr. Entity, to put again. So don't forget to follow our runners. They gave us a really nice spectacle tonight. Follow also the awesome people restreamer, Mr. Entity, Flawless, Mr. Javinator, my co-commentator, and Franklin, who did the checks for the tracking for all the 4 runners, and he did it so well.
Yes, and of course, thanks to all of the members of the community and anybody here watching. Thanks to Randomania for allowing us to restream our community races here. And of course, thank you to the wonderful Atmatech, who has made this randomizer reality for us, so that a lot of us have spent way too many hours playing. So absolutely check that out. The Discord is full of the friendliest people you'll ever meet, as well as Jack. And there's the information there for the randomizer.
Yes, and forgot to thank all the viewers. So thank you for watching us, and thanks to get the details we didn't see. It was really helpful.
Yeah, thank you to my co-commentator, Mr. K. Toyzik, and I'm gonna sign off and say goodnight. Thanks everybody, and you'll have a good one.
Good night, everyone. Thanks.